nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. The Salon Success Podcast is recorded live on Mondays at 4 p.m. New Zealand time via facebook.com/Monaco Nail Academy, and it's available everywhere good podcasts are found. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, it's Steph here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today for the Salon Success Podcast, I'm joined by Penny.
Yay! Swapping roles for the first time and completely coincidentally talking for 10 minutes on mute.
That's a good sign, like my first podcast, leading it.
You were wetting your pants a little bit because you weren't very nervous, and now you've had a 10-minute head start to practice.
Little test.
And now we can hit the ground running.
So I'm doing great. How are you, Penny?
Well, better than you right in this second.
For the live stream, I'm sure my cheeks are very pink right now. But
so funny though. That's so good.
Such a me thing. Like I try to prepare so much as I can for any of these live streams, and there's always something that's like really big that I miss. This is not the first
sound
time.
Is kind of a big thing,
especially for a podcast.
At least it's you that has to edit it.
Yeah, this is true. I can fix it.
So good. So I know that we have at least Mel and Kirsty watching our actual live recording. So hey guys, how was your day? How was yours, Steph, until now?
Well, until about 5 minutes ago. It was busy, but good. It's been raining here for like the last 24 hours almost straight.
Which I didn't know. I know it's been raining all day, but I just learnt while the mic was off that that it rained all night last night too.
It's been very constant, so there's lots of water everywhere, and it's starting to get a bit humid. Lucky us. But I think it's about to get worse, right? Like the weather's about to get.
There's a cyclone coming in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently. Sometimes the weather forecast is very different where we live because we're in a beach town between two mountains, and sometimes the forecast completely bypasses us.
Kind of skips.
Sometimes it hits us and no one else. So we'll see which one it is. Did you have a good Monday?
I think I had a pretty good Monday. Mondays are normally really busy for me, but I like that it's busy because you can kind of hit the ground running, get stuck into the week ahead.
Monday's my favorite day of the week.
Yeah. And I got to do a client this afternoon as well, which was really fun.
And she was so lovely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you got to do a little bit of nail art.
Yes.
Yes. Fun. So fun.
Yes. So, Penny.
Yes.
What was the highlight of your week last week?
I have thought of one. Now that when Steph asked me this 5 minutes ago and we were on mute, I hadn't thought of one. And now I have one. So last week, we've been real busy lately, and I was just in the middle of telling everyone on mute before that basically I've run Monaco with staff, but like run Monaco for 10 years, primarily by myself with different variations on people helping with admin and stuff like that. And in April this year, I burnt out completely and just hit a wall, and I tried to work out how to rebalance everything. But ultimately, the solution to that was Steph. And so Steph is very much moving into like a managing Monaco role, whereas, and then I'm like a directing them, like
the brains.
I'm guiding the direction, and then you are executing what needs to happen.
Definitely.
And so we have been crazy busy lately because it's leading up to Christmas. And so the highlight, well, basically where I was going is that my goal moving forward, there's a truck outside honking a horn, apologies. But so my goal moving forward is to have a much better balance of work. I was, before I moved to this town, doing Monaco full-time and nails very part-time. And in this town, I'm doing both I was doing both very full-time, and now it's swapped, so I'm doing nails very full-time and Monaco part-time because Steph is an angel sent from the heavens. So my goal is to have a much better balance and to do like maybe 6 hours of clients a day, maybe less, maybe more, don't know. But just to have time in my garden and time to enjoy life, because running 2 businesses, working in each one full-time has not allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
So the highlight of my week last week was the day that we went freaking swimming.
That was so nice.
Yes. So we had this day, and normally I don't love a bitsy day where you have like a client, then a meeting, then a client, then an appointment, then 2 clients, then whatever. They don't do well for my brain. If you can put me with 12 hours of clients back to back, and I will do better than having 4 hours of clients broken up throughout the day.
True, yeah.
But we had this day where in the afternoon, Steph and I both miraculously ended up with a gap in between stuff we had to do at the exact same time, and it just so happened to be at high tide. So we went swimming, and we left. I finished a client, and we were back in the salon an hour and a half later, but that was not us rushing.
Yeah.
That was getting changed, going to the beach, having a nice little dip, cooling down, getting some ice cream. Like, we didn't rush, and it was really nice to see actually you can fit something that has such a huge positive mental health impact, because we both felt like someone said, oh, did you cool down? And I was like, not really, because it was really freaking hot that day. But we both felt so mentally good afterwards.
Like kind of cleansing, right? Like, the water wasn't specifically cold or anything, but just like to have that break, have the dip, it just clears your mind.
And like I said to you afterwards, my friend always says that water and air fix everything. So like it could be a glass of water, a shower, a spa, a swim in the ocean, dancing in the rain. Water fixes everything, and feeling that air, just taking deep breaths or going outside to get fresh air, go for a walk. Water and air fix everything. And I would add water, air, and music fix everything. But it just felt like it washed everything away. And I just overall felt like I had such a good day that day.
Yeah.
So my highlight was having a day that felt like the goal that I'm working towards.
Yeah, your perfect-ish
day,
right?
So that was my highlight.
Amazing.
What was your highlight?
Well, last week I took my first live stream all by myself.
Yeah.
No one was in the room to talk to me. I hadn't practiced the nail art that I was doing. I just found some pictures that I liked, and then we rolled with it. But it was so fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. So thanks to everyone that came and joined in with me.
I prefer to do a live stream having not practiced.
Yeah.
If I've practiced before the live stream, then in the live stream, I'm repeating it, and I don't like repeating things. I don't even watch movies twice generally, or TV twice. So for me, if I've practiced it, then I'm kind of pre-bored in the live stream.
There's no challenge left, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know how it's going to go. You know exactly the perfect way to do it.
Yeah. I run heavily on being challenged and being slightly stressed at all times.
Right.
Ideally.
Stressed.
Yeah, good stress. But, yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Slightly stressed. The 2 weeks before Christmas, slightly more stressed.
Cool. So if you guys are watching live, definitely tell us in the comments as well what your highlight of the week was. We'd love to hear about it.
And we can see that some of you are watching live, so no excuses.
Cool. So something we like to do around here is one-ups. A one-up takes the idea of constant improvement and makes it bite-sized. Clients are impressed by a salon that they can see constant improvement in, and that is daunting, but a one-up is doing one small thing every fortnight so that improvement is consistent but achievable. So, Penny, what did you one-up this week?
Excellent question. Steph is trying to make me tell you that I got new glasses, but is that a one-up really?
I think so.
I mean, I can see what I'm doing when I'm painting people's nails.
Maybe it's from my perspective, they look really nice. I don't know whether it's like a new glasses thing and the glass is really nice and shiny and like you look very professional and very like, I don't know, in fashion.
I'm fancy. Such a fancy lady.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can see.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how much I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know before I knew my glasses were scratched. I didn't know how bad they were. And now I can see things, and it's genuinely shocking to realize how much is out there that I wasn't seeing before. I don't think it counts as a one-up though. Oh, but we got Bailey came and did weeding for us.
Yes.
So that I will say is a genuine one-up is that a friend of ours came and did some weeding around the property for us, and that makes a big genuine difference to the presentation of our salon.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially because he picked up on a few areas that we don't really walk past, like out right by the footpath. We don't walk past that, whereas he used to work across the road, so he did see that.
He knows.
So that was good for him to point that out, and we're like, yes, okay, great. So I would say that's my one-up.
Nice.
What's yours?
Well, they're not just mine. One of them is this cool Christmas tree that's behind Penny.
Heck yes.
So we put that up in the salon, but Penny did manage to find and buy that, so that's kind of Penny's.
Thanks.
Just a little bit mine because I got it out of the box.
You got it out of the box when I tried and then gave up because it was really hard to get out of the box. So,
but yeah, it's really cool because it doesn't need any cords. It's battery powered, and the lights have a timer.
The lights are built in, is why the cord is relevant.
Yeah, big detail. The lights are built into the tree, so you don't have to untangle anything. You just unfold it and fluff up the leaves a little bit, the branches.
And it's got like a couple, you can't see them on camera, but it's got some pine cones in it. So like you don't really need to even decorate it because it comes with lights and pine cones and it looks cute.
Yeah.
And before anyone asks, not sponsored like we would be, but like it's from Mighty Ape. It's the 3-foot one, and it's like $79, I think.
Amazing.
Also, I thought of another one.
Ooh.
Another one up. Because with the traffic light system for the COVID response coming into play in the last week, one thing that we did was, instead of us sanitizing our clients' hands, we installed a sanitizer dispenser right by the door. So before anyone even gets to us, they can sanitize their hands right at the entrance. And the very first one that we bought smelt like a public toilet. It was bad. So bad.
Not even good public toilet, like bad public toilet.
Bad but clean. Like they've tried to clean it, but not good. And it was bright blue, and it turned your hands slightly blue for a second too. And so the one up itself is that we installed sanitizer at the door to improve our COVID response thing. Yeah. But then the secondary one up is that we then threw that one out in the trash and got another one that is not bad. Yeah.
So from some recommendations from friends that had already used it rather than the other one.
What's it called? Zuno.
Yes.
And I had never heard of it, but everybody that I've mentioned it to or that saw it is like, oh, I love that one. So apparently it's super common, and I just didn't know it.
Yeah. So Mel shared with us in the comments, her highlight this week was being offered an exciting wee new job opportunity.
So fun. I require immediate private message to explain this.
Thanks for sharing, Mel. If anyone else watching, share it in the comments, or if you've done a one-up for this week as well, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Did you have any? You said one-ups when you started. Yes. Did you have another one?
Yeah. So you can tell me if this counts or not. But you also did this for me.
Oh, I'm getting so much credit today. I'm fancy and credited.
So in our online booking system, for a while, I was a secondary staff member, but all of the appointments were the same time as what Penny takes. And she's got a lot of experience and I do not. So I'm significantly slower.
Not significantly. A smidge.
Slower enough that if someone planned something after their appointment time based on your appointments, I would run late.
Yes, but also faster than I was for the first decade I did nails.
So Penny went in and adjusted that for me. So now because before what we were doing is people would book and then we would either go in and manually extend their appointment times, or I was blocking out time afterwards so that at least another client couldn't book too close and I had the kind of breathing room, just because like the extra pressure I think of getting stuff done faster than I know that I can right now, like a little bit, you know, I want to meet clients' expectations. I don't want to let them down.
I would say it counts as a 1-up, but not because it takes the pressure off you. That's an added bonus. But because it sets the right expectation to the client. So the client is automatically going to be happier because they have booked knowing what to expect. And then you have met the expectation because you're not slow. But if someone books for a 45-minute service and you take an hour, then you haven't met their expectation. Totally. Even if their expectation was, or your time was perfectly reasonable. So I do think it's a 1-up, but for that reason.
Cool. So yeah, definitely guys, if you're watching live, tell us about your most recent 1-up in the comments. We love to share ideas. So you can get inspiration from us or we can get inspiration from you, which is amazing.
But especially because the next week or the next 2 weeks between now and Christmas is going to be so freaking busy. So please tell me all of your easy 1-ups that I can do in between a stupid number of clients that I greatly appreciate. But also I might be insane by the end of it. It's okay. No one needs sanity. It's overrated.
Cool. So obviously the whole point of this podcast is to share and communicate information that helps everyone have a successful salon. And one of the ways we do that in Monaco Nail Academy is through our Salon Success Business and Marketing course. So I joined the Monaco team after that course originally launched. So I've started working my way through it now from a student perspective, and I'm applying what I learned to both the Hard Liquor Salon and also to Monaco Nail Academy each week. And this week I'm going to give you a little update on where I'm at.
Because last week you were working on goals that you wanted to achieve, like we call it a mission, and you were setting your mission so that you had a clear goal of what you wanted to achieve throughout the course.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I've got that locked in now, I think. We were very close last time, or I was really close last time on where I wanted it to be. So for Hard Liquor, which is Penny's Nail Salon, we're looking at actually having only 20 hours a week on average of booked clients. And so the locals here don't like to rebook, and that was a bit of a challenge on how I was going to be able to measure that goal. Because that goal is really important to Penny and the lifestyle that she wants to have over the next 6 to 12 months past summer crazy time. But I decided the best way to do it will be just to look at a monthly basis. What is the average per week? Because some weeks you might be a little bit more busy and other weeks you might be a little bit more quiet. But if it averages out to that 20 hours a week, that's your goal, right?
For sure.
So I thought if I look at it at a monthly basis and I start measuring it now, even though it's going to be crazy now, hopefully we'll start to see by February those numbers starting to decrease again in the average weekly appointment time spent in the salon. So and then for Monaco Nail Academy, we did talk about this last time, but we're going to look at increasing the revenue we make from training enrollment. So that's pretty exciting. We did have a little bit of a dip in 2020 because of COVID.
During lockdown.
People's
But like, we also, before the lockdown, after the first lockdown, but before this most recent lockdown, had our 4th biggest month in all 10 years. Yeah, I think it was April. You'll scroll. I know you will now. It was the 4th biggest, and the 3 months ahead of it were 3 months in a row 6 years ago. Then this one was like, so it's like it's not a lull that concerns us. Yeah. We're in lockdown.
Yeah, totally. It's out of our control, but fingers crossed, maybe if we put some extra effort in, we can look to grow that.
Yeah, we'll even post like the traffic light system switch immediately changed things as well.
Totally.
I think as well it had so much to do with my mental health, because in the first lockdown last year, I just went, nope, this isn't gonna upset my business, and I worked really long hours all day, every day on creating the marketing course and on on everything I could. And we actually made money during that first lockdown. And then in the second lockdown, my mental health was the opposite and I really struggled. And so there wasn't that. And then even when you came on board, you were learning how to be on board. So I think it's partially lockdown and partially directly related to the energy and the mental health that drives the business as well.
Yeah.
But improvement is still improvement no matter what. Even if we were doing well.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
no. That came out wrong. Like, I'm happy with how we're doing, but even if we had like the best year we've ever had, you still try and have an even better one.
Shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
Land on the moon.
Yeah. Sounds cold, but okay.
And then I did actually move on to the next learning task in the course, which is really working on your identity and who you are as a person and as a business. So I have been taking my time working through this as well, but I can see the value in it. And I think it's slightly more tricky because they're not my businesses.
They kind of are. You're as involved as I am.
Inside them, but I didn't create them from the ground up. So that's, I think, just the slight difference. So I'm working my way through that to really knuckle down the brand or the business identity so that I know in the future when I'm starting to work on the rest of the course, that's like really knuckled down and I know like where we start from, who we are. Yeah.
I really like the identity stuff in the course. I don't know. I think knuckling down is fun. Like when you suddenly have a super clear picture of what you're like aiming for and who you are, and like I don't know, I think the identity stuff just really clarifies things and that makes it really easy to strive towards goals. Whereas if you're a little bit murky, then it can be a lot harder to try and work out where you are and what you're doing.
Cool. So we're gonna go through.
I already scrolled down.
Oh, sorry. Cool. So Penny's too slick for me.
I've done this too many times. That's what that is.
So Penny, tell me what else you experienced in the salon this week.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I've been making notes of stuff that I could share today. So I would say that the very first thing that I experienced in Salon today, this week, was somebody's toenail nearly falling off in my hand. It was terrifying. So I've been a nail tech 14 years, and this has never happened, so don't freak out. It didn't fall off completely. But so I had this lady in for a pedicure. I had never done her nails before. And actually, no, I'd done her fingernails once for a special occasion ages ago, but she's not a regular, I've never done her toes. So she comes in, she sits down, and then she answers a phone call.
Right.
And so while she's on the phone call, I'm just sort of getting started, and I go to shorten her pinky toenail, and it flicks completely backwards up against her skin, like terrifying. And even with my mask on, the look in my eyes, she started peeing her pants laughing immediately. And she said to the person on the phone, she's like, "Oh, hold on, sorry. This poor girl's doing my nails, and she looks like she's gonna pass out. Hold on." Like she was laughing the whole time. And basically she popped the phone down for a second and just said that she had kicked it earlier that day. She knew that it was like that. It didn't hurt at all, how some people's pinky toes are just odd. Yeah. It was still attached at the root, so but it wasn't hurting. There was no blood, there was no pain, there was nothing like whatever. But holy smokes, I nearly died because I just thought that I did. Yeah. And I'm very careful. Moment,
right?
But I thought she's going to be in pain and she's going to think I did something awful to cause it, even though I try so, I pride myself on my work.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was terrifying. And then, so how I handled that nail, though, was that then I normally hand file polish off toenails. I soak it off fingernails, but I hand file off toenails. But I e-filed it off that toenail.
Right.
Because then I wouldn't have the back and forward motion.
True.
And then I did zero prep other than a very, very careful clean. And then I painted it to match all the others. So she said, and once she was off her phone call as well, we talked about that plan. She wanted it painted. There was no pain or like blood or anything like that. And so I just didn't want to do anything that could make the situation worse, which is why I didn't shorten it. I didn't push the cuticles back, nothing. But so, yeah. And then I just painted it, and she was happy. She was fine. I'm the one that nearly died of shock.
Very grateful that happened to you and not to me, because I think I might have actually died.
You would have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100% you would have. Cool. What about you? What stories do you have?
For this week, I have a bit of a different one. So this actually happened, but not when we were in the salon. So we went out for a meal about a week and a half ago now, or probably actually longer. Anyway,
the one over there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were enjoying our dinner, and the owners of this place were social, and they were going around all of the tables.
They're
and
very good
to
at
the
schmoozing.
guests. Yeah, it was very charismatic kind of chat. And one of them ended up talking to the table behind us for a while. And we overheard some comments that were a little bit on the nose about the old owners.
Yeah.
So we thought about it at the time. We're like, this is a cool thing to bring up, because it's not only in salons that we kind of have this, where either clients are talking about experiences, or maybe nail techs are talking to their clients about experiences, or other businesses and talking them down. And it just made us feel really uncomfortable as guests in their establishment.
Because the owner in question had clearly ascertained that the people she was talking to were new to town and hadn't been we're new to town, we're trying all the new places. And she said to them, did you come here before I owned it? Yeah. Because they had already in their conversation, which was 40 minutes long, which whatever works, but that if she'd been at our table for 40 minutes, I'm happy to have a chat with people, but like I'm there to hang out with my friends. Yeah. Kind of thing. Anyways, we knew that they had been there since she owned it. And she asked, had they been before she bought it? And they said no. And her comments were, well, let me tell you, if you had, you would have seen bugs all over this windowsill, and you would have seen this and that and the other. And very that was the most energy. She just lit up, like she was dying and she bagged out the old owners for a good 10 minutes. It was a long time.
Okay, this is kind of ruining our time, because it was making us feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I just thought, no matter where you are, it's bad taste. Yeah. In a small town like where we live, particularly bad taste, because everybody knows everybody. So everybody knows the old owners. Yeah. And even though these people were new, it was still they're going to know the old, there's not that many people here. You will eventually know everyone, and they're going. So we just, we thought it was good to bring up on the podcast purely because like Steph was saying, it relates to Salon as well, where you think that you're just having sort of like a cordial conversation, but you really do need to watch what you're saying to who and try and keep all of the conversation as positive as possible. Yeah. Like, if you wouldn't say it to their face, don't say it to a client.
Yeah, definitely. Because it gets around as well. Like, I don't think a client would ever, they might not tell their friends, but they might tell their friends. Yeah. And, you don't really want to be known as that person talking someone else down.
They're also quite unlikely to tell you that they are unhappy with the conversation. Like, we were in a situation where we were backed up by each other's feelings, and we were leaving when we spoke to the lady. We could have said to her, hey, that conversation actually made us really uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, maybe think about who's listening. Like, we could have said something. We didn't. And I wouldn't if I went back there. Like, if I went back in time, I still wouldn't say anything.
I don't think that there's many things. That would be an example that I would actually speak up as like a adjacent person.
And yet we have spoken about this experience to multiple close friends in detail.
Yeah.
And now we're, telling you guys as like we're trying to hold back details.
Yeah.
But we're not comfortable enough to say anything to this establishment, but we're talking about it because it was so uncomfortable and awkward for us. If you have a client sitting across from you one-on-one, they are not it's very unlikely that they're going to say, hey, actually, Steph, that's a bit weird. I don't want to
talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. It's up to you to be filtering yourself and deciding what is appropriate. And you might think, bugger it, I'm going to say what I want. I don't care. That's what I deem appropriate for my salon. That's fine. I fully support that. Yeah. But you just might find that it's harder to grow your clientele quickly if people are uncomfortable with the conversation that's happening. Like if you are always spreading positivity and telling fun stories and being really happy, it's just a much nicer experience for the client. And I think that this other lady sorry, I took over your story.
That's fine.
But this other lady
didn't your story.
didn't really understand maybe that she was creating a negative. She was trying her best to create a positive atmosphere by chatting to everybody and by being friendly and by being charismatic. And I highly doubt that she consciously knew that she was actually creating a really, sorry about that, that she was creating a really negative experience for us. Instead, she wouldn't know because she prides herself on her business. Like you could tell she was a very proud businesswoman.
Definitely.
There's no way that on purpose she would be doing something that she knew made us uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I had other stories to tell. Oh, you have one. I have one, but you have one too.
Oh, okay. So we have this, one of our clients is very lovely and she's probably between our ages, I would guess, very friendly, like would consider her to be one of your friends at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I've seen her a few times in the salon, and then the last appointment that she was here, Penny convinced her to get her toes done as well. But unfortunately, because it's such a busy time of year, Penny didn't have back-to-back for hands and toes. So what we did is Penny did her fingers and I did her toes. And I could still probably count the amount of pedicures that I've done on my fingers. So I don't have a lot of experience of different looking kinds of toes and nails and things like that. And she did have traditional polish on her toes, but it was way grown out. Like at least half of her toenail was like fresh at the back, just natural nail, and then half of it was the traditional polish. And even taking the polish off, it was tricky. Like it was really on there.
Yeah.
But when I took it off, her nail wasn't just like completely clean. And I thought maybe she had a bit of fungal infection on her nails. And so I knew at that point, I think I had already used a file. So I was like, okay, I'm going to need to get rid of these files, definitely. And she actually saw the spots on her toes and she asked me what it was. And that's definitely the first time I've ever had that conversation before. So I did my best. Like our training with Monaco tells us, we can't tell clients exactly what it is because we are not doctors or medical professionals. Send them off to a pharmacy if they're concerned, keep an eye on it, or send them to their GP. And I tried my best to do that. And I knew at the time, and Penny said as well afterwards, that I could have been more discreet because we did have another client in the other chair. So that's definitely a big work on for me for next time. But then because Penny is 2 meters away from me when I'm working at the table, she can obviously hear the conversations that we're having. And so she actually offered some of her expert advice. And looking at the nail, it may not have been what I first thought it was, right? So
it definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to straight up in front of her be like, "You're wrong, Steph," because I didn't want to. No, but you wouldn't have minded, but I mind from a Salon perspective that I don't want to undermine you completely. I would rather make the suggestion so that they're still trusting that you know what you're talking about because you do.
Yeah, kind of.
Mostly.
So what we think may have happened is that because she had that traditional polish on for months and months and months and months and months, that actually does dehydrate the nail, right? And it can kind of give a different appearance on the nail, and it goes a bit white, or a bit yellowy white. And so I'd never seen that before.
Have you not?
No,
never ever.
I don't think so. So that was a great learning experience for me, and I think I was probably pretty lucky to have her as my client to learn from that as well, because when she asked me, it wasn't like ooh, what's that on my toe? It was like, ooh, what's that? And then she started Googling about what it could be.
Yeah, she's so lovely.
Yeah, so she really didn't mind, which was like a weight off my shoulders, because like thinking back, definitely I could have been a lot more discreet, especially
what would
with
you do
another
next
client.
time?
So next time I wouldn't say at the time if there was another client in the room, even if, so now I know what that looks like. I know that likely wasn't fungal.
Yeah.
Very likely.
99.9%.
And if she was concerned, she could pop to a doctor or to the pharmacy for them to look at it. But it's really important that we keep an eye on what it looks like so that it's not getting worse. And then hypothetically, if it was likely fungal, I would have messaged or called her afterwards and just had a little chat and let her know privately, so that there's no chance for embarrassment, because I think it's something that people definitely would be embarrassed by in general, and he didn't seem to be, but
she didn't care. And even because I know her well, I said in front of her to you, like, that you should have been more discreet. Nicely.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't care. And I was like, well, but I'll tell you as well why it definitely wasn't fungal. So it was nowhere near the free edge, which would be, it's so unlikely that it would start in the middle and not. It normally starts, it has to start pretty much in between two layers of something.
True, yeah.
And so for it to start in the middle of the nail, very difficult for that to happen. Also, it didn't have a Christmas tree just drove past. It didn't have any fuzzy edges. It was very much like a dehydration spot, because I've seen lots of them. No fuzzy edges, no fuzziness, no creeping. It was very restricted to the specific line of where the polish had been.
Yeah.
And fungus doesn't really care what's there. It will keep going if it wants to. Also, you tested with the back of a cuticle pusher that there was no change in nail density or nail composition between the pink part and the
pairing, normal pairing and the lighter coloured areas.
It's just heaps and heaps of things, and coupled with the fact that I have seen it lots and lots of times before, but it just really wasn't fungal. Definitely not. But it was still a really good experience for you, and an experience that a lot of people, when they do our beginner course, are very anxious about the first time that they're going to come across stuff like that, or at least now the first time you come across it in real life, you will have had this experience to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, totally.
The other story that I wanted to tell was one that I wrote it down on Saturday afternoon, I think. So we take payment by cash, bank transfer, and then I have some trade swaps that are set up. And because cash has a way, like we obviously bank our cash, but because I also get income from Monaco, blah blah blah, sometimes instead of like the bank is really far away, so then we would transfer money that's already in a bank account in to pay the tax, record it that way, and then have the cash on hand as well. We don't do dodgy things, but it doesn't mean that we're driving to the bank to make sure that our tax obligations are met. point being that cash is very easy to just like slip through your fingers.
Totally.
You have no record that it ever existed. And often the things that you're spending it on just sort of like melt into the household or my stomach. But like,
yeah.
So I'm working really, really hard at the moment. I'm really freaking tired. But I felt like I wasn't seeing progress because my savings account was empty. Anyways, I started a notebook, very old school pen and paper felt tips kind of notebook where I have been recording what comes in specifically by bank, cash, trade swap, and from Steph's clients and stuff, separate to the spreadsheet, and we have zero for the accountant and stuff, separate to all of that, just one that is my brain on paper. And so it's been wonderful because I've been able to really see exactly what money is coming in one place instead of seeing it in multiple places, whatever. I can see it all coming in one place. I can see exactly, I'm recording how many hours it took me to make that money, and then what my hourly rate is that I'm getting. And it's just, I have made it in such a way that I am seeing that I am being rewarded for the hours I'm doing.
Yeah.
So on Saturday afternoon, I tallied up for the week and I did some calculations and I shared them with Steph at the time. But at the time I thought, oh, I should totally save this and share it with you guys as well. Because basically what happened is that my hourly rate that I made between this week and last week was only $2 different, but it had a $4,000 impact on what my so-called salary would be for the year. So I'm going to share the numbers with you guys because I don't give a shit about financial secrets. But so I got in 1 week $2,215 for 29.5 hours of work, which would be $115,000 salary if that was a normal week. It's not. It is a Christmas week, but let's just say it was normal, and I wanted to calculate it for funsies. So it would be 115K salary. But so that was 2,215, 2215. But 2,134, 2134. So only less than $100 less. The previous week for 29.25 hours. So only 15 minutes difference. That equaled $111,000 salary if that's what every week was like. And again, I can't stress enough that this is just Christmas week where I have opened up every hour, and these 30 hours are on top of working for Monaco as well. Like, it sounds like easy. It's not. I'm tired. But realistically, all that happened was that I got a $2 difference in my hourly average that I got, and it made that drastic a difference of $4,000 to the overall annual amount. And so I wanted to share that because I know people stress about putting their prices up or charging what they're worth and that sort of thing. And I thought that this was really relevant to share because all you have to do is put your prices up $2, and you can have a $4,000 pay rise. And if you were working an office job and you got a $4,000 pay rise, you'd be so stoked. But then if you said to a client it's going to be $2 more from now on, no one's gonna care. Like, you might lose one client, and what? Like, are they? Well, they're still not worth the whole 4,000. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I just wanted to share that because I thought it was a good, real world, first-hand account of how a slight price increase. Even though I didn't increase my prices, it was the average did, and Steph and I played with the numbers just because we're nerds and that was fun. But it made quite a drastic difference to the overall outcome. And so, so I just thought that was fun to share.
Definitely.
But I don't know. I hope that's like a helpful thing to know. I'm not entirely sure, but it's an interesting thing to know. And I think I'm talking too much right now because it makes me anxious to share financial information, but at the same time, what's the actual... who actually cares? Like, we all get to learn from it. I think more people should share information because then everyone would be educated and better with their money.
Yeah. I think I'd just like to add as well, when we were talking about this, originally Penny was looking at her weekly income as well, and you weren't feeling as great about that. But when you multiplied it out for the yearly salary, like that made a big difference in your perception of the number as well, right? Like it made it way more relevant than just, oh, it was less than I feel like I worked every hour under the sun and it was only this, like kind of thing. So that's a really good thing as well, especially if you're working part-time in the salon, or maybe you're working in between two jobs and looking at your salon income, actually multiplying out what you're doing for what it would be for the year. That's going to be a lot more relevant in terms of where the number sits in your brain.
Definitely.
Versus weekly take-home pay, so to speak. Yeah.
Because doing Monaco stuff as well, I felt like, and I'm doing a lot of hours overall, but I felt like I was working from the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep, and then not really seeing that.
Yeah, where was it going?
Yeah, especially because other than those 2 weeks where it suddenly got really busy, it definitely was not that much money. I don't have it in front of me, or I would share it with you, but it was like, I don't know, under 1,000 for sure. But I was still working as hard because it was a split between Monaco hours and Salon hours.
Yeah.
So the notebook, I think, so good. Best thing I've done in ages. For me, for my motivation.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. And with that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so you don't miss the next episode. We'll be back just after 4 p.m. next Monday, but until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy, or follow our salon at Hard Lacquer NZ. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.